and gentlemen, and welcome to Ben's leaving day, should we say retirement? I've not been told what is politically correct. But welcome once again. You've got the gruesome twosome up here. Well, this isn't one of the, shall we say, the top ones, but it's way on down the list from the Eagles. Carry on with Ben's bits, we go with Chris Rea.
They can sit at the front, yeah, right, and then everybody else we want to fill the back up first. You're right, okay. But we're videoing the presentation, then we can send a copy back to Ken and Rose in Canada, to Austria, and so on.
Whatever.
Right.
Touching warm, reaching out, I seem so good. I've been blind to believe that never parties, the way you talk in Russian and Greek, and the young men who move in your circle, they hang on every word you speak, yes they do. But where do you go to my lovely? When you're alone, your face, tell me the thoughts that surround you. I want to look inside your head, yes I do. I've seen all
introduce. Well, for those of you who just tell you roughly what that one was, Gracie Fields and Sally. Our next one, number 2, because you've got to bear in mind it took a bit of rooting out for some of these. A bit more up to date from the Stereophonics. Can we ask you once again, please, to all gents the other room? Thank you.
I've been instructed that on this occasion that I have got to keep it short. There's one or two other things, but I couldn't possibly let this occasion go without at least recalling one or two bits, but certainly not 27 years worth, that's for sure. At Christmas last year, a number of service crew leaders came to speak to me and asked me what did I want once I retired. Was there anything particular I was looking for? I said the one thing I did want was the opportunity to get a lot of people together who's helped both Shirley and myself over all these years to be able to say thank you to them. It really is, although there's a lot of you here tonight, believe you me, there's a lot more people who've not been able to come. A tremendous amount of help and support, and this is what I really wanted. I just wanted the opportunity of saying thank you to you. I've just one or two, probably about the first 48 hours, or maybe the first 4 days, I should say, when I first came to Waddicker. I just want to recall them. My first launch into Waddicker was in the old, what was called the old Warrens or Tinglewhite cabin, and I met about 4 people in there. I know that some of them are here tonight. But Roy Fisher, where's Roy? Could you just stand up, Roy, a minute if you don't mind? Bill Hargreaves, wherever you are. Yeah. Colin Ovenden. And Peter Williams, wherever you are. Well, I hope you, on top of those 4, of course, there were a couple of other people. There was Bob Sutton and a chap called Frank Dearlow. A lot of people have described them as being criminals. I personally think they were very foresighted, and I think they really knew what they were doing. There's not many people who can stand after 27 years and call together their old interview panel, and they were the people who interviewed me when I first came to Waddicker. And for that, I thank you all for giving me the opportunity. I think Shirley's got a different view of it. But thanks a lot. They've been tremendous supporters. They're all still involved in one way or another in Scouting in West Lancashire, even now, and they were involved long before I came here. So thanks a lot to all of you. I think the second little recollection I had was with, on my first night at Waddicker, the first Friday night, I'd received a letter off of Bill Fazackley, some of you knew, and Bill had sent me a letter to tell me that all the top field was being taken for an event from Preston called the Harris Cup, and they were camping there. I'd left on Thursday evening, came back Friday evening, and there were tents everywhere. And in the middle of all these tents, there was one guy shuffling around, tightening all the guy lines up and knocking tent pegs in. So I thought, well, I'll go over and introduce myself. And when I got over there, the first thing I noticed is on his shoulder he had a Blackpool badge. So I immediately set about, and this has all been reserved for Preston district. I think you'll have to move your tent. The person I'm referring to is Michael Loones. Michael was volunteering for the weekend, and Michael was doing what Michael always does. Where are you, Michael? Yeah. I know you love the limelight, don't you? You absolutely love the limelight. So I was just suspicious when I saw this person round the tent. And my suspicions were borne out last year, when after 26 years, Michael decided he could no longer, as well as running a Story Scouting Museum, he no longer had the time to be a volunteer. And I realised probably 26 years ago that he had no sick ability. But there are other people in this room who I were also right about. David and Sandal and Tommy and Joyce Walker and a whole lot of other people. And there are a lot of lovely people who've been around for many, many years. And I think the third recollection, and some of the younger people on the crew, you may wonder why we've got so many assets in the workshop and various other places of Waddicker. When I first came to Waddicker, I obviously didn't store anything at all. I used to get it. But when I first on the Sunday morning, when I came back to Waddicker, because I wasn't up there, I was staying at home, and I came back on the Sunday morning, that first weekend, and there was two people who had an old water vehicle that had a leak in it, and they were trying to repair it using arrowdite and matchsticks and poking arrowdite in it with matchsticks. And I looked and I asked them what they were doing, and they said, well, they were repairing it. And I thought, well, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. We're not so far from Ribchester here, perhaps it was in the blood around these areas, around here. And the two people concerned were John Allen. Where's John? Is he here? Can you see John? And Phil Jewis. Where's Phil? I know Phil Jewis here. These were two excellent teachers for me. And just realising how you could always repair and recycle and how it's keeping costs down. So thanks a lot, Phil. Thanks, John, wherever you are. And about a fortnight after that, they were joined by three other people who I found also to be very, very good at recycling as well. And the three other people who came the following week were Phil Howard, John Seed, and wherever he is, George Glover. And George was an expert at it, of course. Come on, wave your hand around, George. But they were the first service team. The following week I managed to get a few other people coming in. Jeff Warburton, Howard Greenwood, Steve Mather. And they all formed the basis of the service team. A lot of, once again, a lot of modern people will all be pleased to know that Steve Mather's calmed down a lot since then. He doesn't rush about as much now as he used to. I am certainly. So really, that's about all I want to say about that. I just want to say thanks a lot to all of you. But I have a couple of separate people. I didn't want to really pick out anybody because you're all friends. I could say thanks and so much for about each and every one of you. But I did want to say thanks tonight in particular to Jenny. Where's Jenny? No, Jenny. So Jenny, if you could just come up here, I'd take the opportunity of saying thanks a lot from myself and Shirley for all you've done this week. Jenny, just before I got on with the thanks, during summer, when we were in Austria, Jenny was completely obsessed with the fact that I was wearing a pair of socks most of the time. With my sandals, yeah. Now, fortunately, I knew all about this, but I'm quite sure most of you in this room didn't know. But last night, that great local historian, Brian Fothergill, informed us, getting back onto the theme of the Romans, Brian Fothergill informed us last night that the introduction of wearing ankle socks with sandals was first introduced by the Romans in England because the feet were cold. And truthfully, Jenny, that's how I found myself in Austria. The fact it was 40 odd degrees is my feet were still cold. But no, she seemed to go on a lot about my socks all the way through. So Jenny, thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Let's have a go. Got our flowers. Now this beautiful bunch of flowers, and in a moment I've got a lovely box of chocolates down in this bag down here. But of course, these are not for Jenny. I also said I wanted to thank a lot of other people, and I wanted to thank Shirley in particular. So this is what we're going to do with the flowers. So Jenny, on behalf of myself and Shirley, and I want you to think about it here. Just word on this time. So I've said thank you. Yeah. So thanks very much. Off you go. All right. Jenny, just come back. Having thanked Jenny for what she's done organising this trip, I couldn't really. There's been another occasion, a very special occasion, which I know some of you knew about, but something special happened on the 4th of September. Does anybody know what happened on the 4th of September? Do you know, Jenny?
It was my birthday.
It was Jenny's birthday. So, Jenny, I'm sorry it's a bit late, but on behalf of your birthday, all right. And the chocolate. And I didn't send her a card deliberately, she thought we'd forgotten, but we'd not. But what we're going to do now, we're just going to sing happy birthday, aren't we? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jenny. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, Jenny. Right, I'm all but finished. Earlier on tonight, Steve Platt was playing a selection of records. They were about the best of the worst, I guess, of what I've heard over the years. But I have brought some of my own records, I'm just hoping. I've been told modern technology can do anything now, doesn't it? And this is Frankie Lane saying I may be wrong, which doesn't apply to me. And I have another one here. Yeah, this was also very good. This is On the Sunny Side of the Street, this one. And it's sung by Jimmy Young. So, unfortunately, I don't listen much music these days. So just finishing, thanks very much, all of you. You've been great friends. I've spoken to each and every one of you a million times, or you've spoken to me. In a lot of cases, I've had to sit and listen to you. Sometimes you may have had to. But modesty were always my problem. So I think from there, I'm being instructed that that's the end. I am finishing by saying thanks, Shirley, on behalf of West Lancs, and thanks on behalf of you.
Bernard, tonight you thought this was just your retirement thing, but you were wrong. Bernard Pendlebury, this is your life.
Use the microphone.
Life. And we all know that Ben shares the most famous scouting initials in the world with our founder. Though presumably this was far from Mr. and Mrs. Pendlebury's minds when they decided to name their new baby Bernard. Ben was born on the 28th of September 1938, spending his early years on Tong Road in Little Lever, a village otherwise famous only for having the highest birth rate in England for 2 years on the trot in the 1960s. In the 1940s, Ben attended St Matt's C of E Primary School, where he first met Shirley and became a choir boy. Although apparently becoming a choir boy and meeting Shirley were not linked in any way. As a child, Ben was very keen on fishing and showing remarkable prescience when we consider current health and safety regulations. He started to amass the relevant safety documentation. More importantly for the Scout movement, and second only to the Siege of Mafeking, in forging the history of the movement, Ben became a wolf cub with the 18th Falmouth St Matt's Cub Pack. Now unfortunately St Matt's did not have a scout troop, so when Ben was 11 he displayed early indications of his leadership capabilities by going around knocking on doors asking if people would become a scout leader. Eventually he found some poor character who was willing to act as a leader at St Chad's in Bolton, where he then moved as a scout. At the age of 11, Ben started secondary school, but after a few months, he moved to Ratcliffe Technical College to do engineering. And it's this background which helps explain Ben's respect for practical experience and his healthy suspicion of purely academic qualifications. Leading him many years later to say famously to a bunch of the service crew, "The trouble with you lot is, you've all been educated beyond your intelligence." In 1952 or so, at the age of 14, Ben moved to the 4th Falmouth All Saints Scout Group at Moses Gate in Falmouth, where he was to remain for 25 years. 25 years. Shortly after joining All Saints, Ben started an apprenticeship with the National Coal Board, and having sorted out all the important things in life, he started coaching Shirley. Or, as she is better known amongst his friends, Saint Shirley. Now clearly, this was one of Ben's better decisions, as surely no one else on earth would have put up with him being out scouting 7 nights a week and weekends, every week, for the next 50 years. In fact, about 20 years ago, I asked Shirley how she coped with him being out of the house so often. And her reply has always stuck in my mind. She said, "Oh, I'd rather have him out of the house. If he was at home all the time, I'd go mad." I know he's officially retired, Shirley, but I'm sure the county will do the best to keep him out of the area. Ben gained his Queen Scout Award in 1956. And he has since encouraged hundreds of others to do the same thing. Now, it's doubtful if any Queen Scout would ever throw away the Queen Scout Award certificate. And many people would have kept a letter of congratulation from their Uncle Tom. But only Ben would have kept the envelope that the letter came in. 1957 was a momentous year for Ben, attending his first service team weekends, both at a local campsite, which was at Giant Sea or Holden Park, and at GT. Now at GT, he obviously decided he could do a better job than whoever was in charge then. It took him 30 years, but eventually he got his own way. That year, Ben also attended the Sutton Coldfield Jamboree, a fact of which he was immensely proud, and don't we know it. The next few years brought more momentous changes, with Ben moving to de Havilland's in 1959. Now de Havilland's eventually became a part of Hawker Siddeley and then part of British Aerospace, probably by virtue of the fact that the company was ruined by its phenomenally generous support of 4th Farmer Scout Group. A function of which the company was blissfully unaware, especially in the area of personnel, stationery and material supply. De Havilland's is probably the only company ever to have employed a full-time paid scout leader. The fact that it thought it was employing an engineer is entirely irrelevant. In 1959, Ben and Shirley were married at St Matthew's in Little Lever, honeymooning in Blackpool, and in January 1962, their first child, Gary, was born. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Ben was promoted to inspector in 1964, the same year that he and Shirley moved into their bungalow in Wilkinson Avenue, where they remained for 14 years while Ben progressed through a number of appointments at 4th Falmouth. I think he was Scout Leader, Senior Scout Leader, Venture Scout Leader and Group Scout Leader. He also served as ADC Venture Scouts and Scout Training, just to give himself something to do on the odd night that things were a bit slack at the group. Ben was the linchpin at 4th Falmouth for many years, and it was his dedication and drive that made the group an enormous success. His legacy is still felt at the group today, where many of Ben's ideas are still used to great effect, and some aren't. As a Scout and Venture Scout leader, Ben had incredibly high standards, which so many of us are still grateful for all these years later. Some of his methods might seem a little bit odd now, but they worked. One of Ben's favourite tricks was to catch a Scout or a Venture Scout with his hands in his pockets, whence he would yell, "Boy! Haven't you got anything better to do? I'll find you a job." Followed by detailing the hapless Scout to peel a £50 bag of spuds, splice 40 rope ends, paint the hut, something like that. In fact, it got so bad that a lot of us sewed the pockets up on our pants, so we couldn't put our hands in. But that didn't deter him, because all he did then was move the trigger from putting your hands in your pockets to folding your arms. Some people consider having an arm amputated, but that was even now, all these years later, I still feel nervous if I put my hands in my pockets. As an illustration of Ben's high camping standards, which can be second to none, on one summer camp at Walesby Forest, having conducted his routine inspection of our patrol campsite and failing to find a greasy frying pan, an unspliced rope end, a soggy sleeping bag, or an unbrailed tent, God forbid, he deducted us points because he found a dock leaf upside down on the edge of our campsite. Now this prayer would suit you, Ben. The Lord thy God walketh in the midst of thy camp with holy, that he see no unclean thing in it. We used to take 2 frying pans on camp, one for show, and the one that we used to use to hide before inspection. Now, after the dock leaf incident, we'd had enough, and we decided to take our revenge. And we surreptitiously, say we, but it was actually Bernard Roberts, who I think is down there somewhere, surreptitiously planted. There he is. 30 years Bernard had hidden this crime. Surreptitiously hid a sterilised milk bottle top on the Scouters' campsite. And then during flag break, accidentally discovered it. Now all hell broke loose then, and Ben and half his leaders put to the sword. Alright, I made the bit about slaughtering his leaders up, but you get the general idea. Now he was a very hard taskmaster as a scout and venture scout at News Ben, and he had a fiendish mind for setting tests and challenges. There used to be a notorious section of the Queen's Scout Award called Personal Initiative. Now, venture scouts used to be given tasks to carry out under this personal initiative. You know, you've broken your leg, right? Walk 50, you know, manage to get yourself 50 yards or something. But not Ben, no, that's too easy. On one occasion, Ben and some of his henchmen shoved a massive old Humber car into a ditch. They threw a 20-foot long, 1-inch diameter rope at the two venture scouts that were taking the test and said, "Here, you've got 20 minutes to get that car out of that ditch." After an hour of miserable failure, he called a halt to this, and he was scathing in his criticism of the venture scouts involved and their inability to extricate this car. The fact that 3 hours later, the car was still in the ditch, despite the best efforts of Ben, 14 henchmen, every rope, block and tackle in the scout up, and 2 of the cars pulling like mad, did not make Ben think that the test was OTT. Oh no, he merely said that it was intended as a test of character. As a leader, Ben was always famous for his ability to keep costs to an absolute minimum. And in 1977, he was still charging £7 for a week's summer camp. £1 a day. Nobody did it cheaper. Though when you consider that he once fed an entire cub pack of 36 cubs, plus leaders, with 2 small jars of Sutherland spread, the reason becomes apparent for my next trip with these loaves and fishes. Seriously though, there are a lot of scouts from that group who owe Ben a very great deal, and we offer our heartfelt thanks to a scout leader who really did know more scouting than the original leader did. Now whilst all this scouting was going on, Ben did not entirely neglect his family life. And in November 1969, Ben and Shirley's second son, Stephen, was born. Where is he? Hiding. Now when it became apparent that the baby was on the way, Ben went out to ring for an ambulance. It was thundering and lightning, he had to walk a mile to the nearest phone box. And he was hard in them days, wasn't it? Once the ambulance arrived and Shirley was safely transferred to it, Ben went back into the house and Shirley sat waiting for him to come back out. When all the lights went off and no one emerged, it was discovered that Ben had gone back to bed. To cap it all, when Ben arrived to see Shirley at the hospital on Sunday, he was still wearing his uniform. He attended Remembrance Sunday Parade before going to visit. In 1977, having been a scout for 31 years, 25 of them at Forth Farmers, Ben applied for and got the job of warden at Waddington. More properly, he became the organising commissioner for West Lancs. Now this was a momentous move, not so much on Ben's part, since he was already effectively a full-time scouter anyway, but British Aerospace's profits jumped dramatically that year, as expenditure on stationery and sundry other items fell precipitously. As well as Ben acquiring a new job, Ben and Shirley and the boys acquired a new home, moving to Meadowcroft Avenue in Catterall. Mysteriously, Ben also acquired a new name, becoming Bernard. A change which still seems a bit odd to those who knew him BW before Waddington. Now Ben, Bernard, quickly settled in at Waddington, making his mark in the county and starting to gather the nucleus of what became the service crew around him. The fact that the crew has now persisted for more than 25 years he feels so old. Not as old as you, and still thrives, is a great treatment, a great testament, spell checker, to Ben's ability to inspire the people around him. And part of his ability to inspire people has been his Churchillian use of language, with such motivational statements as, "You've come a long way to get so far." It'll only take you 10 minutes. Which is possibly one of the most untrue statements ever made by any human being. And the truly awe-inspiring, momentous, there are no big digging jobs left. That was yesterday. I think it was 15 years ago he said that.
Now I know that there are
Now,
rules on
of
there.
course, there are some people who have taken Ben's inspiring leadership a little bit too far. As the years passed, Ben's job in West Lancs expanded, taking in VFB, the whole of GT and Morecrag, a generally wider role within the county, and culminating more than once, and to his horror, in becoming county commissioner. Now, none of this went to Bernard's head, and he could still be found roughing it in the drains with the service crew of a weekend, though he always did manage to avoid washing up. More than one soup plate at a time, by mysteriously always receiving a phone call just after he'd started to wash up. Now, maintaining that for 25 years without fail is an immense task, and nothing short of wizardry. Of course, one of Ben's best qualities was his ability to surround himself with good people, ranging from muck shoveling service teams and the service crew to no lesser persons than the chief scout. I believe that Pete has some videos and so on that we're going to hear from now.
Hi Bernard, I'm sorry I'm not with you this evening. I had a prior engagement at the school reunion, and it really was in my diary many months before your doom was brought to my attention. Obviously we go back about 20 years or more. We've been on several Red Rose camps together, seen you around Monica many times. In fact, I've got you.
Bernard's messages, take one.
Hi Bernard, sorry we can't be with you.
His lives, becoming grandparents, moving to Hollands Lane in 1984 at Forton, and now at that house in 1987 a new kitchen was being built around the time of the VFB weekend. It's always just before Christmas. The extension to the house was not yet properly roofed by the VFB weekend and was merely covered by a tarpaulin, which was a shame because it was a weekend of atrocious weather, thunder, lightning, gales and snow. The tarpaulin blew off. Shirley rang Bernard, and Bernard asked if she could fix it herself. Eventually 5 crew members went down and fixed it. So as Bernard retires, and possibly changes his name again, he leaves the county immensely richer in many ways than he found it. No one could have done more. In fact, recognised by the many awards that Ben has received during his scouting life, every one of them richly deserved, such as his Medal of Merit in 1972, his Long Service Decoration in 1976, the Silver Acorn in 1984, the bar to the Long Service Decoration in 1993, and in 1996, the ultimate accolade, the Silver Wolf. Bernard has received other, less well-known, but equally deserved awards during his career, generally at crew dinners at VFB. For example, the Greenpeace Award for Recycling in 1995. And any crew member who has spent a long Saturday afternoon straightening bent and rusty nails for reuse or recycling a bag of cement that's got wet and set into a solid block by beating it back into a powder with hammers, will testify that that award is more richly deserved than most. And to round off, there's just a couple of extra bits. We thought we'd comment on Ben's odd sense of hearing. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just that it doesn't work like anybody else's. Now, if one of the crew members says, "It's broken," what Ben hears is, "It's okay." If a crew member says, "It's broken beyond repair," I can fix it in 10 minutes with a broken screwdriver, the wrong size spanner and 6 inches of used duct tape. Even God couldn't fix this. Neither will be able to fix it. No way am I going to do that. I'll get on it straight away. Are you out of your mind? What a splendid idea. Wish I'd thought of it. Now, just before we close, Mr. Fisher is going to say a few words.
Right.
I have no idea which microphone I'm using. Try that one.
Thank you. Does this one work or not? Does it work? Tonight we've been exposed to a few of Bernard's secrets. I'm sure we also feel better for that, what we're going on there. But tonight also has a more serious aspect, in so much that we are celebrating the end of a chapter of the history of scouting, started in 1907 by Baden-Powell. And over the years, people like Bernard have given their time to write chapters as we've gone along and kept the book going. Now, our chapter starts in 1972, really, when the government decided to reorganize our counties. You know, we reformed and we had Merseyside, Greater Manchester, and Lancashire was reduced to what it is today. And at that time, I, with Chorley, together with Ormskirk, migrated from southwest Lancashire to West Lancashire. And so that was the beginning, really, of the West Lancashire chapter. Now, at that early time, Bob Sutton was the leader, and Bob Sutton, I think, was a great man with a lot of inspiration about what should happen. What you probably don't know is that before Bernard was appointed by the Four Musketeers here, Bernard made an application to become the warden of Venture Forth. You didn't know that, but I was at that time busy developing and building Venture Forth, so I knew something that Bernard had made an application for that. And I was very grateful that for some reason or other we found out that he wasn't going to carry on with that application. I had something to do with that because I put him off. But I'm very grateful that he did, because later on, when he applied to become the warden of Waddicker, that was our game, and Venture Forth lost, really. But in the end, Bernard, or Ben, I didn't really know he was called Ben. Bernard then took over the responsibility of developing Waddicker and Great Tower, which at that time was, of course, a national headquarters. It didn't belong to us, we only looked after it. But through Bernard's persistence, his hard work, his encouragement, and the great gift of getting to get people to do things that he wanted to do because you wanted to do it, was the great thing that Bernard had. He had that ability of persuading people to do things when you knew jolly well that it was going to be a lot of problems to do it. But Bernard, you did it very well. And that is what I think it's all about, that scouting over 100 years, nearly 100 years, has been reliant on people like Bernard. And that history of scouting, or the chronicle of people, because I believe that people are more important than the events. The events come and go, but people stay on. You know, you often say, well, like tonight, you've talked about people that have been influencing Bernard, and I think we can remember people a long time ago, whereas we can't really remember the event. So I think that the people are vitally important. I remember when I was first a cub in 1930, or thereabouts. I can remember those days very clearly, but I can't remember what happened yesterday. And so I think it's very important that we should have this chapter in our books where Bernard forms in with other people and he becomes one of those great band of people over 100 years who have made scouting well worthwhile. And I think that it is right that Bernard's name, like a Bull Ben Adam made driving creatures, that sort of thing, should see his name written in a book of gold. And I think Bernard will be there forever. And I would like to suggest, I'm always putting my foot in, but I would like to suggest that one way to celebrate the getting rid of Bernard would be to name part of Waddicker after him. And the name that came up to me, well, we've got Bill's Field, and we've got the Little Gem, which incidentally, I'm proposing we change that from Michael and Ron to Micron. Called the Micron Gem. But then I thought, what could we do with Bernard? And I thought, well, the River Brock runs through, and then we got Brock Bottoms. And I thought, well, Bernard Bottoms. Right. So I thought, well, we better not do that. But I certainly think that we ought to have sort of Pendlebury Pad or something like that, which I think that ought to be done. And then we are to one part of the area designated as Bernard's Pad. And we can have Shirley next to him as well. But I do mean that quite sincerely. Whoever's in charge of this sort of thing, I think we ought to follow that up. And we ought to have a Bernard's Pad somewhere on the field, somewhere where we can sort of avoid it. Put a fence around and say, don't go on there at all. But a lot has happened. Waddicker, when Bernard first came on, was purely and simply a basic camp. There was nothing there. But if we look today to see what there is at Waddicker, it's wonderful. The things that have happened there, all through Bernard saying, let's recycle it. It's done, it's there. So Bernard, I'm very proud. But I think I'm probably the oldest person here tonight. I think I share my age with, well, not, where is she? She's sat there. I'll not announce her now, but I think I share my age with you. I'll not say what that is, but it's more than 5 years and 15 or something like that. It's a long time anyhow. So really, I am proud that we had the inspiration to drag Bernard from British Aerospace in those days, even though he came from Bolton. It's it. The other interesting thing about it, he was with Forth Falmouth. Was it Forth Falmouth? St James? Was it Forth Falmouth? All Saints. Forth Falmouth, All Saints. Well, I sort of built Falmouth All Saints School, secondary school. So there we are, we've got a connection link somewhere there. It's still standing, which is something. Bernard and Shirley, thank you very much indeed, and I'm very, very honoured to have been able to share your time with the Scouts of West Lancashire, and also to leave your mark with them in no return. Thank you. I'm sorry I've come in uniform, but I've been at the conference all day today, and I was coming, I got drenched, and I've only one suit. So I thought, well, I better put my uniform on. But the interesting thing about the Scout uniform, I was in London, 3 or 4 months ago. I was walking down the Strand, and a voice hailed me across the Strand. And a loud voice said, "Where's the kilt?" And he was a scout from West Lancashire, or an old scout from West Lancashire. They didn't recognise me without listening on the show, so there we are. So Bernard, thank you again. What's wrong with that? Now you can they all eat now? Oh, in a minute.
Right, just quickly before we start the buffet, tonight's for Bernard basically, but there's one person that we seriously need to thank because without her, Bernard would have been in a right pickle, I'm sure. So, we've just got a little bit of a present for Shirley.
No more. No more. I was just informed that the kitchen's in revolt. Thanks very much. Thanks for all the nice words. It's been lovely. But tonight we were saying thank you to you. We really were. It's just got wrong. Gone completely wrong. Gone out of sync altogether. There are a number of people who's come from quite great distances from various countries. But I'd just like particularly to mention Christine and Johnny, wherever they are, who flew over from Germany to be with us just for tonight. So thanks a lot for your company. And thanks, Liney, for coming down from Aberdeen. Which country is that? Thanks again. And we better let you go, or else the kitchen will be here till all hours.
Well done.
Bravo!